Hey everybody, Matthew Gonzalez here from No Late Fee Videos, and we got some Mortal Kombat 2 stills. I have an article here from Entertainment Weekly that came out a few days ago, and I haven't really dived into it, so let's get into it now. Alright, so it starts off by saying, here's Johnny. Mortal Kombat 2's exclusive first look reveals Karl Urban's Johnny Cage plus Kitana and Shao Kahn. Alright, Urban, Adeline Rudolph, and Martin Ford are ready to fight alongside returning cast members. Okay. So here we are. Now, Karl Urban, if you don't know who Karl Urban is, he is the butcher from The Boys. I mean, he's done other things, but that's probably where you most remember him from. But he was casted as Johnny Cage, and it was an interesting casting choice. I was very much of the, hey, why not the Miz from WWE? He really seemed like he wanted that role. Not to say that if you want the role, you should get it, but he also fit that mold pretty well. The mannerisms, the attitude. I felt like he could have done it. I feel like he could have done a Johnny Cage really well. But Karl Urban was casted, and not that I was skeptical. I just wanted to see what they were going to go with, and here we are, first look, and here is Johnny Cage. And you know what? I think he looks good. You know, you see the sunglasses, you know, the signature sunglasses, the haircut looks great. He shaved. He has that beard in the voice, jacket, all that. He has a good look here. There's a lot personality in this photo too, in this still. Like, you can tell in the background they're just looking at him like, what's going on? So this photo actually is a really good look into what Johnny Cage is going to be in this movie. You have, let's read this little blurb down here. Ludi Ling as Liu Kang. All right, great outfit. I can't remember the outfit from the first movie. I know I had a few issues with the first movie. I don't think that's a hot take. I think the first movie left a lot to be desired, and Liu Kang was one of the many things. I've always felt Liu Kang was the actual protagonist of Mortal Kombat, so giving him, I wouldn't say a minor role because he did have a big part in the story, but not focusing the story around him was an interesting decision that I don't think played out pretty well. But seeing here, great outfit, in boom, even without this blurb, you can see, oh, that's Liu Kang. So that's a good look. You have Jax right here, looks good. You see the fingers, the metal fingers that he got from the last movie. So, which is the signature Jax look from the video game. So that looks good. Sonya's over here, you can barely see her. But all three are looking at Johnny Cage, or something in Johnny Cage's area, but Johnny Cage is definitely pulling out all the stunts right here. So I think this is a good look. The costume looks great for Johnny, and yeah, let's see, Ludi Lin as Liu Kang, Mikad Brooks as Jax, and Jessica McNamee as Sonya Blade, and Karl Urban as Johnny Cage in Mortal Kombat 2. By the way, if I mispronounce anyone's name, I am truly sorry. It is early right now, and I'm just trying to get this out before everyone in my house wakes up. All right, the ending of 2021's Mortal Kombat signaled where the franchise would go next, Hollywood. After a bloodbath between the champions of Earthrealm and Outworld, former MMA fighter Cole Young, played by Louis Tane, a descendant of Hanzo Hashi's Scorpion, Hiroyoku Sanada, again, sorry if I'm butchering that. Hiroyoku Sanada did great in what was it? The show that just came out. Oh my god, it'll come back to me. The FX show. I love it so much I forgot the title. Wow. Anyways, I love this actor. He was recently in John Wick 4 and Bullet Train. So everything he does, I'm sold. And he was actually my favorite part about the last movie. So cool. All right. set out for Los Angeles to find a new recruit to aid in the battle ahead, Johnny Cage. All right. Now, okay. So going back to the first movie, and I don't want to pile on with this negativity, but that was, and it's not a hot take, right? Like, that was my main issue with the first movie, is that you have this robust roster of characters, and the protagonist is someone we've never seen before. And I get it, it's supposed to be the eyes of the audience, or okay, but I just felt like there were so many other characters you could use. Again, like I said a few minutes ago, Liu Kang has always been the protagonist in Mortal Kombat, or you could even focus on Raiden. Having a new character come in to take that spot was always a weird call. So yeah, just many of my issues with the first movie. Not that I disliked Louis Tane's performance, I just didn't know who the character was. And when you have a video game movie where you have so many characters, so many beloved characters, it adding a new person that no one knows, it's kind of hard. Like, let's think about video games, and specifically fighting video games. Fighting video games is a genre where people pick a character and learn their moves. A lot of us, and I love fighting video games. I love Street Fighter. I love Tekken. A lot of us spend time figuring out those moves, so we kind of grow. We grow our own fandom to these characters, like our Ryus, our Johnny Cages, our Jins, you know? So when you have a fighting video game movie, I think there's more of an importance to make sure that those characters are represented well. And then if you're introducing new characters, make them extremely interesting. I just didn't get that from the last movie. Maybe it was the writing, but hopefully they fix that in this movie. Next paragraph. A prominent and eccentric character from the video game, as well as past movie adaptations, Johnny was only teased in that first film through a poster for his Citizen Cage flick, but now, The Boys star Karl Urban officially takes his place alongside other Earthrealm champions and Entertainment Weekly's exclusive first look at the sequel Mortal Kombat 2, coming to theaters and IMAX locations on October 24th. I'm guessing October 24th, 2025. All right, cool. We only have a few days. We only have a few months to see this. All right, and IMAX locations. Just a little tidbit for everybody. I tell this to everybody that goes to the movies. Make sure your movie, if you're going to go watch an IMAX movie, or if you're going to go watch a movie in IMAX, make sure, do a little research. Make sure they shot with IMAX cameras. A lot of times movies just throw stuff on IMAX, and it's not really meant for IMAX theater, and IMAX is hella expensive. So, save yourself like what, $30-$40, and just check if they shot with IMAX cameras. If they didn't, get the regular seating. All right. You finally get to see Johnny Cage, Ed Boon, Mortal Kombat co-creator and head of gaming developer NetherRealm Studios, tells EW. His integration into the Mortal Kombat story and universe is a big part of what this movie explores. He's a washed-up Hollywood guy thrown into this magical, ultra-violent thing. Carl, his depiction of Johnny Cage, is different than our games in some ways. He's adding his own flair to it, but I think it'll feel fresh. There's like a novelty factor in there. Okay, let's talk about this here. Now, Ed Boon, really respected. He's one of the people that gave us Mortal Kombat. And so I think I read this earlier, and this kind of confuses me because I feel like Johnny Cage has already shown layers into his character in previous video games. yes, he's an actor, he's very egotistical, but he's also one to go and fight for, what's right, or at least for Earthrealm. And we see that a lot in Mortal Kombat 11, where he's actually in the forefront of this battle with Outworld. Actually, I can't remember if it's Outworld or Netherworld, but he's the forefront in the battle for Earthrealm. So I don't like this here. He's adding his own flair to it, but I think it'll feel fresh. I wonder what that means. Maybe just the way Karl Urban just, personifies the character. But in terms of thinking about Johnny Cage actually has a lot more layers than I think people give him credit for. So I want to see what this means. I want to see what that flair is. And then Ed Boon saying is fresh. But if Ed Boon's saying that, I feel like he's seen a different Johnny Cage on screen. And it's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing at all. The character depictions don't have to be on the nose what the video game is. As long as there's certain key points that we can point to that doesn't make the character completely different. So I'm cool with it. Again, since the first movie wasn't my favorite experience, and I saw that movie in the movie theaters, I'm a little skeptical, but because of seeing that still and seeing how Karl Urban looks as Johnny Cage, it's enough for me to be like, you know what? I'm going to tune into the trailer and see if I actually really want to see this movie. I mean, I'm going to see this movie anyways, because it's Mortal Kombat 2 and I love movies. Just like Tan's Cole in the first Mortal Kombat, Boon says Johnny serves as the audience's lens into this new story. He calls the character's introduction ridiculously hilarious, having incited some of the biggest laughs from the early screening of Mortal Kombat 2. But director Simon McQuoid felt it was a balancing act to strike that tone. We wanted a character that wasn't just completely silly, comic book. It's a character that could instantly go there and become too light and throw away if we were to lean too much into the kind of cheese, McNoyce remarks. The casting of Karl Urban for that role allowed that character to have more depth. Okay. But I like that. Ed Boon, you should have said that. But you know what? Leave it to the director to say it. That's good. Okay. Mortal Kombat, the series, I think does this really interesting thing of being funny and being ultra violent. They do that well. Where as bloody and as gory the series can go, there's always a lightness to it, whether it's one of the creators coming up from the bottom saying whoopsie, or babalities, or even the friendship stuff, the friendship finishers. If you decide not to, if the friendship finisher is if you decide not to do a fatality, then you could do a friendship, which is usually just a funny little short after the fight. So they always toe this line between funny and horror. So I think that's where they're getting at with Karl Urban's performance, that he can actually do that. I like that a lot. I also like the fact that we can get some comedy into this, because the last movie needed, I don't want to keep on talking about the last movie, man, because I don't really have much positivity, and I want to keep this as positive as possible. But giving it the extra, hey, the laughs and stuff will be very nice. So I like that. That was a good paragraph. And then here we are. Adeline Rudolph as Kitana in Mortal Kombat 2. This is a dope costume. This is a dope costume. All right. We have the fans. Let's see. Okay, there we go. Let's see. We have the fans. Okay. The color, right? The blue that Kitana is really known for. I like it. This here too, the armor, it doesn't look too cheesy. You know, I think it's a great look. You know, we'll see if she has the mask, the blue mask that she wears sometimes, or at least in the original, when she first was when she was first introduced in Mortal Kombat 2, the original game. By the way, Mortal Kombat, Ed Boon, NetherRealms, can you please figure out your titles? You know what I mean? Because I'm saying Mortal Kombat 2, but there is a Mortal Kombat 2 movie called Mortal Kombat 2 Annihilation. But then there's Mortal Kombat 2 the game. And then you just came out with Mortal Kombat 1. But you had Mortal Kombat. And then you had Mortal Kombat 9, what's called Mortal Kombat. And then you have Mortal Kombat the movie, the original one from I think 1995. And then you have Mortal Kombat the movie from 2021. Like, can you put some does in there? The Mortal Kombat? I don't know, man. Just let's figure out some sort of naming convention, because it's a little bit all over the place, guys. All right, so but I think Kitana looks great so far. The stills look great. I'm liking what I'm seeing. All right, Johnny isn't the only new character on the scene either. Oh, Johnny isn't the only new character on the scene either. Joining Mortal Kombat veterans like Ludi Lin as Liu Kang, Mikad Brooks as Jax Briggs, Jessica McName as Sonya Blade. Oh man. Tanabadun Asano as Lord Raiden. I'm so sorry. Joe Taslim as Sub-Zero, and Sonata, fresh off his Shogun Emmy wins, as Scorpion. Okay. Shogun. That was a show I was talking about. Shout out to Shogun. Great show. It swept the Emmys as it should. One of the most impressive shows I've seen in a while. So if you haven't seen Shogun, go watch it. EW can also reveal Adeline Rudolph from Hellboy, The Crooked Man, and Netflix's Resident Evil series. I haven't seen those. As fan favorite, emphasis on fan, Kitana. As well as Martin Ford, House of David, Those About to Die, as Outworld Overlord Shao Kahn. As an added threat for gamers, new movie accurate skins. Oh, as an added treat for gamers, sorry. New movie accurate skins of these characters, including Urban's Johnny, Rudolph's Kitana, and Ford's Shao Kahn, are coming to the Mortal Kombat 1 video game later this year. You see what I'm saying? Mortal Kombat 1? You see how confusing sometimes it can be? But that's cool, man. I mean, when you have video game tie-ins, you know, especially when the video game is active right now, you should definitely try to integrate them, which was something confusing about Mortal Kombat 1. You know, Mortal Kombat 1, I want to say it came out in 2023. So it's 2 years after the Mortal Kombat movie came out. And I was surprised that they didn't put Cole Young in that game. You know, like, why not put him in the game? If he's gonna be in the movies, if he's gonna be in the series, and from my understanding, this is supposed to be a trilogy, so this is the second movie, why not put him in the video game to sort of have people understand the character more? If we remember, Cole Young not only was a big character in the last movie, but like he also took out Goro, and you know, Goro's one of the biggest characters, one of the biggest baddies in Mortal Kombat. You gave him a big win, so was very confused on why they didn't include his character in the game. Whatever. In the movie, these figures are all here for the main event, the one fans have been waiting to see realize on screen. The first film saw the Outworld sorcerer Shang Tsung Shenheng and his forces attempt to wipe out Earth's champions before the big Mortal Kombat tournament between fighters from different realms. That tournament is now officially here in the sequel, and the stakes couldn't be higher. If Earth Realm loses its 10th consecutive tournament against Outworld, then Shao Kahn will invade Earth and take over. Okay, so cool. And all right, Shao Kahn will take over. And here's Shao Kahn. Wow. Martin Ford as Shao Kahn as Mortal Kombat 2. This is interesting. I've always found the Mortal Kombat 2 Annihilation, Shao Kahn was in that movie. And that movie wasn't the greatest. But the costumes in that movie were so all over the place, like Baraka's costume and all that. And Shao Kahn just felt so unintimidating. This is terrifying. And I think that is what this movie needs. You know, it's very different to what we see in the video games. Not very different, actually. It's different. But I like the fear of it. Now he has red eyes. I can't remember Shao Kahn actually, like this is a different, somewhat different, more aggressive take of Shao Kahn. But I played Mortal Kombat 9 so many times, and I remember getting destroyed by Shao Kahn at the end because of how difficult he was. This is an interesting look. I like this. I want to see him in motion. I want to see the trailer. I want to see how he looks. I want to... The fear aspect of it is nice. You know, because I feel like Mortal Kombat, a lot of people don't give it that horror element. There's a horror element to it. We're dealing with hell. We're dealing with demons. We're dealing with outworld, different realms, monsters, and blood and gore. This gives an intimidating factor. I like this. This feels like a final boss. So, you know, it looks different again. The eyes, I'm like 85% sure Shao Kahn doesn't have these eyes, but I like the difference. I like the change. So, dope. I wonder if we see his face, or if they're gonna be like, this is his face. I hope it's a helmet. I hope that he can take it off and we see something behind the mask, but if not, this is cool. This is cool. So far, the stills are looking good, guys. So far, the stills are cooking. They keep score throughout the movie. Boone reveals for the tournament. There's a visual representation of who is winning. It's not just a tournament for the sake of a tournament. There are huge consequences. So you really are keeping score. And there are a lot of twists in it that keep you on your toes. Speaking of twists, on the cast list confirmed for Mortal Kombat 2, which also includes Damien Herman Betterman as NetherRealm Demon Quan Chi. Oh, okay. Are the returning Josh Lawson and Max Hung, even though their characters Kano and Kung Lao died in the previous movie. I can't say Josh Lawson doesn't play Kano's twin, Boone teases. He points to existing Mortal Kombat lore from the video game that make it possible for such a comeback. We've killed a number of characters who are in Mortal Kombat 1 and our latest games, he says. So we deal with spirits in another realm and things like that. There are ways to bring dead characters back. Okay. That was another thing about the first movie. Like, you killed Kano, which was another highlight of the movie. And you killed Kung Lao. Kung Lao is... I feel like Kung Lao is such an easy character to keep for Mortal Kombat movies just because of the hat. And if you needed added blood in the mix, you can just use the hat as like this sort of like weapon, or as a weapon, to just get blood elements. So killing them in the last movie was a little... When they killed Kano, when they killed Kung Lao, and then when they killed Goro, was like, okay, it's like, what are we doing here? Okay, so they're back. I mean, Quan Chi's here too, so that's cool. So we have some pretty heavy hitters. Yeah, like killing the characters, like, and the last one, especially like such important characters like Kano and Kung Lao was a very interesting choice. But they're gonna be back. And then here's the thing, like, I understand there's lore and I understand there's ways to bring back the characters. The comic books do it too. I've always had this position of like, once you start bringing back characters from the dead, it doesn't make the death as, I wouldn't say rewarding, but it does make the death in the story as impactful, because if you do it once, why can't you do it again? So they'll be back. That's great. I do like Kano. I like the character Kung Lao, so I'm glad that them two are casted. But again, if someone dies, why can't we just bring them back again? We have to see what the movie's about. So let's continue going. The ages-long beef between Scorpion and Sub-Zero also refuses to die in Mortal Kombat 2, though it won't be as central to the narrative. He's certainly making appearances that are significant and necessary for the progress of other storylines. Boom prefaces of Sanada's Hanzo's Hasashi. He plays a different role. He's not part of the Super Friends trying to defeat Shao Kahn, but his appearance is key and is very essential for certain parts. All right, and here's Hiroyuki Sanada as Scorpion in Mortal Kombat 2. Okay, cool. Looks great. It seems like Scorpion's going to be the same as like the last movie, where he's there, comes back. Okay, I wasn't expecting Scorpion to be huge into the movie, anyways. I always felt Scorpion and Sub-Zero were always B plots to the Mortal Kombat story, and whether how much we love them or not, this is how they serve sometimes, although they are fan favorites. Like me, I love those characters, so I'm glad he's back to play Scorpion. I'm glad that this dude is back to play Sub-Zero. Let me see if I find his name. Can't find his name. Well, in the last movie, Kano, Sub-Zero, Scorpion, the beginning, those are real high points of that movie. So I'm pretty happy to see them back in the mix. And yeah, like, look here, he looks great. Nothing much to say. Dope guy. Again, like I said, anything he does, man, I will watch. All these facets relate to the clear goals McCoy had coming into the making of the sequel. For one, the team wanted to increase the number of female characters, so alongside McName's Sonya Blade and Rudolph's Kitana, there's also Tati Gabrielle, The Last of Us Season 2, as Jade. Okay. Anna Tui Nugent and CIS Sydney as Queen Sindel, and some undisclosed other characters who will make appearances, the filmmaker says. McNoyd and screenwriter Jeremy Slater also worked to maximize everything with Mortal Kombat 2. Just build on where we were, and then make it significantly more intense, bigger in scale, bigger in variation, bigger across the board, really as a cinematic experience. Some of that involves the story itself. McCoy confirms, we go to lots of different realms, so that in itself gives the film a very distinct and varied visual approach. Some of it also involves IMAX, which McNoy says allowed them to be bolder and swing harder. The team took advantage of the big screen formats to offer audiences a unique experience when they watch Mortal Kombat 2 at IMAX, namely changing aspect ratios to enhance certain sequences. Okay, so I guess they shot it in IMAX cameras. Damn, they quick. They're quick. They heard me say it before, and they're like, "Yo, let's write this real quick." No, that's cool. That's cool. Again, a lot of movies don't shoot IMAX cameras, and they still put it in the IMAX theaters. So, the fact that we are able to go to different realms, different places, it's a fighting video game. One of the biggest things about the fighting video game is selecting the stage to fight at. So there are a number of places I hope we see in this movie. Man, I hope we see the Dead Forest. I hope we see some stage fatalities, which I think we saw in the last movie, but I can't remember. But there's a lot of places that I hope that we see as the fighting front. What I realized was go bigger, go bolder, don't hold back, and really feed off the history of Mortal Kombat more. McNoy adds, just let it rip, and that's what we've done. And that's the end of the article. Okay, a lot of interesting things. This gives me enough to check out the trailer. This gives me enough to see the trailer and start to see if I want to see Mortal Kombat 2 in a sense of like, okay, I'm gonna watch this to review it or to cover it or for enjoyment. So this is gonna be a really cool one. I think what they do well here is, like Ed Boon says something about keeping score. Whereas, yes, they keep score throughout the movie. Boon reveals for the tournament. So this is the tournament movie. I'm very interested to see what they do with that. I'm very interested to see what the tournament will look like, how they'll translate it to a movie. Fighting video games are very interesting because they're very character specific. It is a very character specific genre. Translating it into a movie, not that it's difficult, I just haven't seen it done in a certain way. Outside of the first Mortal Kombat movie, actually. Not the first one. You see how confusing this is? Not the 2021 one, but the 1995 one. So it seems like they're going to try to do that again with the tournament aspect of it, which I do like. So it seems like we're actually going to get a fighting movie, which is really cool. The visuals look great. There are certain things here that I want to keep out for. Hopefully they'll be fine. Hopefully this one knocks it out the park. The director saying bigger, badder. Sometimes bigger and not badder, but sometimes bigger and more robust isn't the way to go. So there are certain things that I want to look out for as this movie, as we get closer to, was it October 24th? October 24th, which I just realized is right before Halloween, which is the perfect time for Mortal Kombat. So, but they're shooting IMAX cameras, so those fight scenes should look pretty nice on the screen. Hope the story pulls together. Carl Urban, I think, looks great as Johnny Cage. I mean, they all look great. So far, these stills do not disappoint. Like, the costume department are doing their thing. They're hitting. The costume department's hitting. These feel like the characters, and this feels bigger and more cinematic than what we've been given before. So I'm hopeful. I'm ready to dive into this trailer whenever they drop it. But until then, we'll be looking out for Mortal Kombat 2, looking out for more Mortal Kombat 2 coverage. I like what I'm seeing. But until next time, be good to each other. Leave a like, comment, subscribe. Comment on, I don't know, your favorite. Comment on who you think should be in this movie, because there's a few characters I would love to see. I would love to see Smoke, Reptile, Noob Saibot, Ermac. I'm just naming the ninjas. Aaron Black, dope. I am even character Fuji, even characters that are smaller in scale, like those other conduit characters that we had in Mortal Kombat Deception. I'll even watch them. I think the guy's name was Taven or something like that. Anyways, comment, like, subscribe. Be good to everybody. Be good to yourself, and just have a great day. All right, bye.